The sterile smell of disinfectant and the constant hum of medical equipment had become familiar to Sarah as she made her daily pilgrimage to see her 80-year-old father at the nursing rehabilitation facility. After his frightening bout with congestive heart failure, these visits had become precious lifelines, moments of connection in what felt like an endless medical maze. But what should have been a sanctuary for healing had slowly transformed into something that made her stomach churn with dread. At 33, Sarah had always been the devoted daughter, never missing a day since her father's hospitalization. She'd watched him struggle through the initial crisis, celebrated his small victories during recovery, and felt grateful when he was strong enough to be transferred to the rehab facility. The first few weeks had been peaceful. Her father's roommate, Derek, a quiet man battling cancer, had been respectful and unobtrusive during their visits. Their conversations flowed naturally, filled with family updates, shared memories, and gentle encouragement for her father's recovery. But when Derek was discharged to continue his fight at home, everything changed. Enter Melvin, a 75-year-old man whose behavior would soon turn Sarah's healing visits into exercises in psychological warfare. From the moment she first walked into the shared room, Sarah noticed Melvin's predatory attention. It was subtle at first, the way he would immediately sit up on the edge of his bed the instant he heard her voice, even if he'd been lying down moments before. His stare was unnaturally intense, following her every movement as she tried to focus on her ailing father. What made it worse was his constant interruption of their private conversations, inserting himself into intimate family moments with inappropriate comments and that unsettling smile that never reached his eyes. Sarah's instincts screamed danger, but her upbringing as a polite woman made her initially try to include him in conversation. She'd been raised to be kind to elderly people, to show respect in medical facilities, to not cause scenes. These social conditioning tactics became weapons against her own safety. The breaking point came during what should have been a routine visit. As Sarah sat beside her father's bed, trying to bring him comfort and normalcy, Melvin launched his most brazen attack yet. With the calculated precision of a practiced predator, he began asking personal questions. Her birthday, her astrological sign, while his behavior became visibly agitated. The therapy ball in his hands squeezed rapidly as his breathing changed, his stare becoming more intense and unsettling. The moment that haunts Sarah's memory was when Melvin handed her an empty tissue box, explaining with disturbing casualness that he wanted her to write down her phone number so he could call her. The violation was complete. This stranger felt entitled to her personal information, her privacy, her attention, all while she was trying to care for her vulnerable father. Sarah's survival instincts kicked in. She wrote a fake number, her hands trembling with the realization that she was being hunted in what should have been a safe space. The walk to her car felt like an escape from prison, but nursing facilities don't allow family members the luxury of avoiding difficult situations. Sarah's father needed her, which meant returning to face Melvin's predatory behavior again and again. Each visit became a test of endurance as she dreaded walking through that door, knowing his leering smile and inappropriate attention awaited her. The harassment escalated predictably. Melvin claimed the tissue box with her fake number had been thrown out and demanded she write it again. When Sarah ignored him, he became more aggressive, physically shuffling over to her father's bed and dropping his phone number pad directly next to her leg, a violation of physical space that made her skin crawl. Sarah's firm no finally created a boundary, but the damage was done. Her father's recovery space had been poisoned by one man's sense of entitlement to her body and attention. The cruel irony wasn't lost on her. While visiting her father in his most vulnerable state, she had become the vulnerable one. The most heartbreaking revelation came from her father, who mentioned that Melvin had no family visits. 2 ex-wives, estranged children, complete isolation. A pattern that suggested Sarah wasn't his first victim, just his most recent target of opportunity. What do you think? Was Sarah right to firmly reject this inappropriate behavior, or should she have been more understanding of a lonely elderly man? How would you handle harassment in a medical setting while trying to care for a loved one? Share your thoughts and similar experiences in the comments below.